Hello everyone, thanks for joining. So I'll just get started now. So yeah, just a weekly live stream going through the market, chart requests, and potentially we'll enter some trades if there are some opportunities. Alright, cool. So for Bitcoin here, the projection from a few days ago is a sweep of these equal lows here, and this inverted 4-hour fair value gap acting as the main support. We had the deep retracement yesterday, and it stopped actually at 63,800. So potentially what's going on here is that this daily breaker block has flipped into support. Right, so this is a previous old high, so previous resistance, point of control on the trading range, and this has been broken through and has acted as support. So pretty simple resistance support flip here on this previous daily high and point of control. Point of control is this red line here, which is the price point where there's been the most volume traded within a trading range. So yeah, right now leaning bullish for the upcoming session, but the downside scenario is this, and I don't think we will go much lower than 61,000 if we do get a deeper trace back. But overall, it's really good to see this bullish price action. So a lot of the projections we discussed in last week's stream played out very nicely, including on some altcoins. It's definitely, you guys are making a very wise decision with tuning in on these weekly live streams. And so I'm happy to go into chart requests. So if you guys have any chart requests, throw them into the live stream trading chat, and we'll go through each coin and the projection, any possible setups. So I had some in the main chat earlier, so I'll go through those first. So there were SEI, TIA, and Rose. And yeah, just real quick, we don't have any more red folder news this week, so we should be in the clear for any new trading setups. So starting with SEI. So question in chat regarding why the 4-hour time frame. That's because most of the substantive price action and like larger movements stem from the higher time frames. So if you're looking to catch those larger moves, use 4-hour and above. And then for precise entry points, you can move down to 1 hour and 50 minutes. I think you're unmuted, Leon. That's all good. Alright, so for SEI here, I had this limit order a few days ago at 0.3355, and it just barely didn't get filled, which is an absolute classic. But it's a nice reaction from that level, so I think it's definitely leaning bullish at this point here. So the reason I say that is, firstly, the higher time frame bias is bullish. You can see here it tapped the weekly order block here at about 0.25 to 0.26. And then following that, you can see there's been a very positive reaction, right? Bullish market structure and order flow, meaning the price is making higher highs. Right? This high is broken, formed a higher high here, and also bullish order flow, meaning 4-hour fair value gaps and order blocks are acting as support. So right here, 4-hour fair value gap. So yeah, expecting continuation to the upside here on SEI. In terms of an immediate entry point, potentially 0.3355 can still get filled. So I'll just wait and see for now. There's also potentially a market entry of this nearby 4-hour fair value gap as well. So I think we'll check back into this and see if we want to take an entry. Right, apparently my link limit did get filled, so have a look. Yeah, so maybe it got filled on some exchanges, but not on my exchange, which is a shame. Like, very nice reaction here from the entry point here. You can see it's very precise. So yeah, I might actually initiate a market entry here if you didn't get filled off that limit already.
Bro, can you see BTC longer time frame for weekends if possible?
Yeah, sure, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I was discussing this breaker block here, this one here, 62,766 to 63,850, and point of control 63,600. So I think it's a resistance support flip, and we probably see a further continuation over the next few days and the weekend. But I did just mention that there's a possibility of a deeper retrace as well, just to fill the daily fair value gap and sweep the equal lows on the H4 time frame. Alright, so for TIA here, you can see I've sort of marked out the range, and you can see that the key to bullish price action was the hold of this range low here at 6. And you can see that yeah, last weekend it did bounce off that level. So eventually we should see movement towards the mid-range 7.28 and the range highs. But in terms of an actual trading setup, there isn't a really nice setup on this right now. You can see like it's very choppy at the moment. But in terms of the projection, I still think it goes further upwards. So potentially what you can do for a trade, something like this. Okay, so stop below 6. First target mid-range 7.28. Final target 8.33. So yeah, you might give this a shot. Looking at Rose next. Yep, so actually quite a few altcoins have the same setup. So weekly level tapped, so very high time frame level, providing a reversal, and then demonstrating bullish order flow. So you can see the break of market structure here. And in this case here, there's no reason not to expect further continuation, maintaining the current bullish order flow and bullish market structure. In terms of a trading setup, alright, we can either look for a deeper retrace down to this fair value gap and OT retracement zone, or we can maintain price above this daily fair value gap here, above 0.092. So those are the two scenarios. Right, so I think that's the first set of chart requests done. Okay, cool. I'll also go through a few coins I was looking at before, and I'll go through the ones from the chat. So we have TRN, FTM, and from Armored we have Ronin, People, Floki, Bonk, and Not. So yeah, we'll definitely go through the meme coins as well, because definitely with the weekend coming up, we can definitely see some strong movements from these meme coins. So I was looking at, I think Rune and Pendle earlier. Yep, so Pendle actually looks quite decent here. We have this key zone here, which is the blue box. That is the previous daily fair value gap, the key support zone, and also the previous range lows. So a reclaim of that is very bullish, and you can see that it's now sort of holding this as support, so that's very good. And we have a potential setup here, so we can just set our stop probably around here, below the daily fair value gap reclaimed. And then in terms of the price targets, so we have the weekly highs here, it's the main target, and then we can just take partials on the way up. Right, so hopefully that makes some sense. So the reasoning as to why this is bullish. So reclaim of this key level daily fair value gap, reclaim back into the daily range, previous daily range, good risk to reward profile, and fairly clear invalidation point. Also relative strength and trend following, because it's showing bullish order flow and bullish market structure. So yeah, definitely we'll see if we can get an entry following New York Open. And the other setup I was looking at, right, so I'll just paste these charts into watch list first, and then I'll post into the alert channels as well once I take an entry. So the channel is ranked watch list. So Pendle is up. And then I think I drew up a potential setup on TIA as well. Okay, so next thing I'm looking at is Rune. So you can see very strong lately, and also reclaimed above 4.10. And you can see definitely the reversal has been confirmed, and the trend has flipped bullish. Right, so in terms of an entry, maybe around 4.3. But if we look at prior price action on Rune when it initiates this sort of reversal, so for example here, I can see that it might take a while for it to actually see any retrace, but at this stage it's probably worthwhile just to stay patient instead of smashing a market entry right here, because the stop loss will be quite wide if we enter right now. right? It'll be over 10%. But definitely very bullish, and we can keep an eye on it for an entry point at some stage. Okay, checking out tier N next. Yeah, honestly not particularly interested in trading this at the moment. I can see price isn't really doing too much. It's just chopping sideways for a while, and it's not really showing any particular strength in comparison to the other altcoins we looked at. So we'll just move on. And yeah, same thing with FTM. So local trend is still definitely bullish, but I can see that it's not as strong as the other altcoins we were looking at before. But potentially you can get a scalp of here, maybe because it's still maintaining the bullish order flow, and it just swept out a local low here. So on the lower time frames, we can probably get some continuation upwards. Probably sweeps out the previous day high. Okay, so FTM could have a short-term setup. Okay, we'll go through a few other requests as well, so I have quite a few to go through right now. Let's have a look at IO real quick, because I think it has been making some moves. We got an alert from Deformed earlier today, but I think he closed out. Yeah, so definitely very promising. If it flips this blue zone here, I think it definitely can see it go even further. So yeah, just something like this, but it can also reject here, and in that case, it would go down to this previous day low here and fill out the H4 fair value gap. Alright, so that's the projection for IO. Alright, so Ronin is Binance only, so I can't personally trade this, but I did share this in the chat last week about how clean the price action is, how clean the EMA crossover setup is, and yeah, it's looking good. Do you still have a position on this? Okay, cool. So looking for a re-entry. Yeah, so you can see it's near the resistance zone here, 2.42. So once it retraces from 2.42, that's probably your chance to get a re-entry. And the zone would just be about 2.25, I think. $2.25 is good. That's the previous day low, and that would also be the retest of the H4 EMAs. Right, let's look at some meme coins now. So I've said before that meme coins are of the same sector, and coins in the same sector tend to move together. Yeah, so people actually looks quite promising. That's a good spot here, especially the EMA compression setup. Right, you can see it's very clean in this case. It broke above all of the H4 EMAs, and it's crossing over and compressing very nicely. And it has also reclaimed the previous lows here at 0.073. So even just purely on an EMA setup basis, there's a potential setup here. So yeah, it'll be something like this. Stop is a bit wide, but that's normal for these sort of coins. Very volatile. Okay, so the trade setup is just the reclaim of the previous range lows and the EMA compression. Right, so Floki looks fairly promising, I think. We also have the sort of EMA setup as well. The EMA setup is on quite a few coins at the moment. Yeah, a good point with people price action. It's quite all over the place. So if you can't stomach the volatility on these sort of shit coins, it's definitely fine to stay out. Yeah, so Floki looks good. Let's compare it to the other coins, other meme coins. So Pepe looks the same as well. Then Bonk is among the stronger ones. So yeah, the setup from last week played out quite nicely. So we entered from the H4 fair value gap and the OT retracement zone. And you can see that like these sort of A plus trading setups really aren't that complicated. It's really just high time frame bias, right? Top of the daily fair value gap, hold, positive reaction, reversal confirmed, and then an entry zone. In this case here, a very clear retracement down to the H4 fair value gap and OT zone. In terms of where it's going next, there's no reason to believe why it wouldn't just see some continuation. And it's actually looking like it's flipping these old highs into support. So classic resistance support flip. So that's good to see. So yeah, overall it looks like the meme coins are looking quite strong. For not, I'm not particularly interested right now. It's because of how the price isn't really doing too much. It's just chopping sideways for a while. So not a lot to see here. And yeah, in trading, right, we don't really want to get stuck in a position and just hold it for like a long time without it at least moving a bit. So that's why, like, with these sort of coins, just stuck moving sideways, whereas like some other coins are moving much more strongly. I tend to avoid this sort of price action. Right, let's have a look at the other requests. So we have Solana first. Yeah, so the projection last week was the slight pullback and continuation, and yeah, it's good to see that played out nicely. And then you can see here, this is a classic resistance support flip. So that's a sign of very bullish order flow. So yeah, you can definitely see, like, during these sort of bullish trending conditions, the price action appears to be much more clear and moving according to expectations. So this is the sort of time where you can sort of increase your risk exposure a little bit. I kind of talked about this in last week's stream as well, right? During like these positive market conditions is the best time to trade and the best time to use larger positioning. And then when the market is chopping sideways, hunting liquidity on both sides of the market, that's when you size down and stay out of the market. So for Solana here, the projection from last week was just a gradual movement back to the range highs, and that remains the same for now. In terms of the first zone, it's the daily fair value gap. So I think we may have, so we didn't quite tap into it yesterday, so we can probably tap into it today or the next few days, and then that's when I can probably see a bit of a pullback and then continuation. So with how close the higher time frame resistance zone is, the risk to reward for longs at the current price is less favorable. So we wait for this sort of scenario first to play out, and then we take an entry. Right, looking at core next, I think we might have a few alerts on that at the moment. So bottom was previously formed and confirmed, and now it's showing the sort of bullish order flow and trending condition. But yeah, definitely encountering some resistance here near the previous range lows, right? The previous lows here at 1.49. So same thing, similar to Solana. We probably see a pullback down to the daily fair value gap, previous day low, and then continuation from there. So you can see that many altcoins actually have very clear price action and projection, whereas Bitcoin isn't as clear. So definitely, I think altcoins are worth focusing on over Bitcoin at the moment. Yeah, so dominance is also just ranging and not doing much as well. Right, so looking at this coin, let's see, it got some traction recently, and I can see why. So yeah, definitely be very careful with trading these sort of price movements, because obviously it looks like the pump is fading quite fast. So if you're taking long, you can just enter drawdown immediately, and it just keeps going back down, and there's not much you can do. On the other flip side, right, with shorts, there's definitely going to be a lot of people trying to short it back down to the origin point. So trying to go for that 50% drop, and obviously it looks very lucrative, and that also attracts a lot of short interest. And what usually happens is we see a short squeeze on the way down. So this sort of price action you have to be very careful with. So how you can trade this is you wait for further price action to develop. So you wait for a swing high to form, and then you short after it sweeps out the swing high. So this is the short squeeze, and then you enter after the short squeeze, and then usually after the squeeze we have the continuation down. So this pump was about 280%. Okay, so that's all the previous chart requests done. If there's anything else, so throw them into the chat. I'll have a look. So we have a request to look at Octa on spot. And with spot investments, it's more so to do with your understanding of the fundamentals. So if you know what the coin does, and you believe in the long-term prospects and the project, that's where you just hold it with higher conviction for the longer term, and just load up on dips. You don't really look at the chart as much. But in terms of the chart, it's looking quite healthy for spot holds, because you can see that the pattern has been like just pump, accumulation, pump again, accumulation. So that seems to be what's happening here. It's just going through like a longer period of accumulation. It can take several months, and then it initiates the next move up. Sure, let's have a look at Pepe. So the key zone here is the daily fair value gap reclaimed. So this zone here. So that has been reclaimed. And then it's showing bullish order flow. So this 4-hour fair value gap gave a good reaction. So yeah, the projection is continuation. We have some old highs all the way up to 158, and then firstly at 135 and 139. But personally, I don't see an immediate entry for Pepe just yet, because it's a bit ambiguous for the short term, right? We have this bearish H4 fair value gap acting as resistance. It's showing some weakness on the lower time frames. Right, and you can see compared to the other meme coins, it's not really as strong. But medium, longer term, it probably keeps going up. So you can just scale into a long position with lower leverage and just keep holding it. Okay, awesome. So we went through quite a lot of charts. We also set out some trading setups. So let's just have a quick look back at what the market is doing right now. New York just opened 7 minutes ago, and I can see it's doing typical New York things. Pump into local highs and immediately reject. So we might have to be just a bit more patient with our long entries. But the setups that we did share in the stream today, Pendle, TIA, people, I think definitely look quite clean. Yeah, so you can see that Pendle is still holding quite decently despite this bearish movement on open. People is a bit more ambiguous, so probably not going to take the entry yet. And TIA is still at the same spot, so that's looking quite okay too. So the entries I'm looking at right now are Pendle and TIA. Yeah. Is there any other requests before I wrap up today's stream? Right, awesome. And yeah, just going to address a few things before I end the stream. So a lot of questions recently about people located in the US and Canada, so restricted regions for the major exchanges. So where do these people trade? So there's a few options. We have Blowfin and KCEX as the currently main options. So if you're looking to sign up with Blowfin, do consider using the referral code, referral link in the Trade Crypto channel, the official CryptoTraders link. And there's some sign up bonuses and incentives. I think David also has a link in his bio as well. And then KCEX, we also have bonuses and sign ups in my bio and a few others as well. So if you're looking to sign up to these exchanges, definitely make sure to use one of our links. Also, just a reminder of the trade reviews program. So incentivizing our members to post their trade reviews in the trade review chat, where you'll receive personal feedback from David or me. And each month we select one trade review to reward with a 100 USDT cash prize. So definitely get involved, and it's a good way to improve your own trading as well. And the market conditions have been very nice to trade, so definitely it's a great time to learn, seek feedback, and yeah, just like do some trading pretty much. Right, awesome. So thank you guys for attending today's stream. We have another stream tomorrow with David at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 30 minutes after New York Open. In terms of the best trading setups, I think I mentioned Pendle and TIA at the moment, and if I do take an entry, I'll post them into the alert channels. So yeah, thank you guys for attending. Hope to see you again next week, Wednesday, 30 minutes before New York Open.